please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Over the many years on this platform that I have been a creator, I have firmly stood in defense of freedom of speech. Sadly though, the platform I use predominantly, YouTube, hello YouTube, not the viewers, the platform itself, and the parent company, have made it harder and harder as the years go by to exercise that freedom of speech. Back when Susan Wojcicki was in charge and alive, and rest in peace of course Susan, she used to champion the term "I fully support freedom of speech," but her rules would indicate otherwise. We have seen a number of people recently, either unalived, expressing their freedom to speak, or removed from TV to come back, which I will admit I did find funny, but I fully supported their right to freely speak, even if their freely speaking ways were blatant lies. To then disregard the blatant lies and make a different point to try and become the new champion of free speech. Yes, I'm referring to Jimmy Kimmel. I keenly await the law of diminishing returns to impact that one. The absolute perspective that I have for freedom of speech should mean that no one should be punished for exercising their freedom to speak, or be monetized on a platform like YouTube. Recently, a document has come out, a 5-page document, where YouTube has admitted that it censored Americans under pressure from the Biden administration. Now, this to me should surely open up Alphabet or YouTube first to a number of lawsuits, because if they do get their accounts reinstated, you know they were politically suppressed. I'm not okay with this. YouTube is a bit more open when it comes to violations of terms of service than platforms like Twitch, but YouTube is just as bad at censoring people for their political perspectives. When Jack Dorsey left Twitter and was in charge of Twitter, he admitted he was doing the same to left-leaning voices, and Twitter has now become more right-leaning, although my For You page is predominantly left-leaning people being absolutely smeg-headed. That's not to say those on the right aren't also smeg-headed, it's just I don't see that as much in favour of this left-leaning smeggery. What I want to do is go through the judiciaryhouse.gov page from the Evo Media document, which is a letter to the HJC. This is sent to Jim Jordan, who is the current chairman of the Committee on the Judiciary. I've heard of Jim Jordan before. People wanted him to be in charge of the Republicans once, a few years back, before Trump ran again. And I think this is a rather telling document that is going to shine a horrible light on this platform, one that is still going out of its way to hurt people and suppress people, either by shifting the goalposts or introducing policies or changes without telling the creators first. I don't see anywhere near as many updates to the YouTube systems as I used to. The terms of service updates used to be monthly. I don't get those anymore, which I will admit concerns me. By electronic mail sent on the 23rd of September, so yesterday at time of recording, this statement of facts is submitted on behalf of our client, Alphabet Inc., which is the parent company to Google and YouTube, and its subsidiary, YouTube. There you go. In response to subpoenas issued by the House Committee on the Judiciary Committee on 15th of Feb 2023 and the 6th of March 2025. Well, it's nice to see something dragged out through 2 presidents, no less. Not that the first one was awake to know about. 1. Throughout the committee's investigations, Alphabet provided responsive information to the committee to fulfill its oversight responsibilities, producing internal records and providing extensive testimony, including more than 40 sets of responsive documents and the voluntary participation of 20 executives in transcribed interviews. Well, there's your ego fluffed. Thank you for playing the game. You've all now lost. 2. Alphabet is a collection of businesses, the largest of which is Google. Alphabet's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Alphabet is committed to building helpful products for everyone, and the company aspires to give all users the tools they need to increase their knowledge. I guess we haven't got to microchip implants yet. The company is committed to doing its part, to continue to keep the digital ecosystem safe, reliable, and open to free expression. Well, that's a lie. Alphabet designs its products to work for everyone. Another lie. Bias towards a particular viewpoint is not in line with the company's values or the company's business interests. Is that because you've watched other companies go down the drain? Because they got woke or went woke and then slightly went or maybe have gotten broke? Yeah. Alphabet's business model depends on being a useful source of information for everyone, and a home for users of all backgrounds. Is that why some companies now, because of governments leaning on them, restrict information flow because of the governments in question? Surely this is then a contradiction. As a result, Alphabet has a natural long-term business incentive to apply and develop its policies consistently, impartially, and independently. The committee and its investigation. The company appreciates the accountability from the House Judiciary Committee, led by Jim Jordan, and its critical role in advancing the core American value of freedom of expression. The company has a commitment to freedom of expression. This commitment is unwavering and will not bend to political pressure. Transparency regarding government interactions with private platforms is essential for fostering public trust and upholding principles of free expression. The committee's investigation brought to light new information that enhanced public understanding in this respect. What sucks about this is that it took a judiciary committee for you to notice the issue or willingly acknowledge it. I hate that. I understand why it's the case, but I hate it nonetheless. So many creators have been harmed by censorship when it came to the coup, when it came to the the Biden administration, the Trump election in 2020 though, when he lost. Big margin, I will admit. Anything that could be considered contentious, it's remarkable how quick people kowtow. The UK government is very much pro-censorship and they get ribbed for it all the time. Previous government were just as bad. The Online Safety Act is proof of it. Just an excuse to curtail freedom of expression and harm creators and people all the same. Nobody should have that kind of power. No government should. Any government that has that kind of power is a government you then have to trust. If you trust your government to look after you, you're an idiot, quite frankly. The same should apply for businesses, but then, is Google publicly traded or publicly owned? The answer is it's not publicly owned, so then it's not the same, is it? Can they enshrine the values of the American people, the freedom of expression everywhere else? No, because they have to abide what the governments say. And this is where those contradictions arise. We want to be this, but we can't do this. The next one is the interesting one. The Biden administration and Alphabet. The COVID-19 pandemic was an unprecedented time in which online platforms had to reach decisions about how best to balance freedom of expression with responsibility, including responsibility with respect to the moderation of user-generated content, as opposed to the current slog and slew and, rubbish, that is AI-generated content that could result in real-world harm. Somewhat ironic considering what's happened, don't you think? Senior Biden administration officials, including White House officials, conducted repeated and sustained outreach to Alphabet and pressed the company regarding certain user-generated content related to the COVID-19 pandemic. That did not violate its policies, but, ignore that. While the company continued to develop and enforce its policies independently, Biden administration officials continued to press the company to remove non-violative user-generated content. I like that it's constant references to officials, nothing tying to Sleepy Joe though, because I could believe at this point, so early in the administration, that mother fluffer was asleep. As online platforms including Alphabet grappled with these decisions, the administration's officials, including, President Biden of course, created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the actions of platforms based on their concerns regarding misinformation. It is unacceptable and wrong when any government, including the Biden administration, attempts to dictate how the company moderates content, and the company has consistently fought against those efforts on First Amendment grounds. 100%, I do agree that no government should ever be doing that, which is why I took great issue with the message being spewed with regards to the influence of Kimmel being, put on holiday for a week. The reasoning for it doesn't quite line up with what actually happened, but I don't like the idea of any government, any president, any political influence trying to dictate how a company operates. This paragraph, 4 points, is an important one, because I don't see many of those who are currently chastising Trump calling this out. This is massive. It's always the greater good. The greater good, the greater. Any excuse to ignore contradictions and hypocrisy for a wider point. Oh, well, this should be censored. Okay. A guy peddled false information about the assassination of Charlie Kirk and was pulled because of complaints and other issues. The fact that Trump got involved is a different issue as well. But everyone made Trump the bigger issue. Can we just let him deal with the Tylenol thing and pillory him for that, if you like? There are remarkable political inconsistencies from those who refuse to acknowledge their own hypocrisy, double standard, and contradictions. YouTube's mission is to give everyone a voice and show them the world. That's not true. Apparently YouTube's mission is to destroy established channels or hurt as many creators as possible so that they can allow for further AI-generated shite to take over their platform. And I see enough of that stolen content farming crap. Fix it, YouTube. Seriously. I recently got one of those little polls where I have to, fill in some boxes and say what I think YouTube could do better. I filled it in and I put about, as many words as I could actually, because I'm sick and tired of seeing AI-generated content. I don't care if you're an established YouTuber using an AI-generated voice. You count. You should be yeeted. Why? Because you're a farming, feckless worm and a fraud. Over 2 billion logged-in users worldwide visit each month, and over 500 hours of content are uploaded every minute by an extraordinarily diverse community of creators. Yay us. There is a wide variety of views on the YouTube platform that on any other information source in history. YouTube will strive to foster blah 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 because they're talking out their arse. To the next part, because I don't really care about the creator support or the creative ecosystem because it's a load of lies. YouTube's content moderation approach and commitment to free expression. So this is another interesting aspect. YouTube takes seriously the importance of protecting free expression and access to a range of viewpoints. YouTube's community guidelines and TOS apply equally to all users. That, by the way, is a lie. I got a warning from your bullshit system for child endangerment. What did I do? I spoke about the fact that Destiny yet again has been outed for messaging a minor. Did I show anything of it? Nope. Were any children in my video? Nope. Was there anything tangible to connect to the accuser? No. But I got a community warning and had to go through some stupid little community school thing. I have that hanging over my name. Yet again, another one of these pointless AI bullshit things that you've done, where you've appealed it before the video could even be watched. I appealed, by the way. You rejected it in a time less than the video is long, even if you sped it up 2 times. Now, don't try me, YouTube. You are not at all interested in helping anyone or aiding different types of content being put on your platform. I've had videos removed because I spoke about people who went noncing. Robert Nutbeam, he got caught by a bunch of one of those pred groups. Yeah, look him up if you want. The video might be on YouTube if you're lucky. Going down to point 18 because 17 is also a load of crap. On key issues of medical content, YouTube policies continue to evolve in line with a dynamic environment. Dynamic is a one of those buzzwords that make people think it's a bit more energized or useful or broad. Yes, it's not. Health authorities have changed their guidance over time and Alphabet's policies have evolved as well. Do people still have those Fauci figurines? YouTube's current approach allows a wide range of content regarding COVID-19 and elections. It will, however, to drive the point home, heavily restrict your video by removing ads and age restricting the video. Why? Because YouTube's going to YouTube and punish you at every opportunity. 19, because that one's stupid. YouTube continues to enable a diversity of perspectives and believes creators should be able to openly debate political ideas on a platform. You'll also be demonetized, by the way, unless your name's Hassan Piker. In June 2023, YouTube sunsetted a policy to allow for discussions of possible widespread fraud, errors or glitches occurring in the 2020 and other past US presidential elections. They should have done that for COVID as well, because since all of that has happened, Nelly, some of that information that came to light really shone a rather interesting light on people like Fauci, didn't it now? The remaining 5 points on the YouTube side of things all essentially fluff egos and claim to care about conservative voices, but that's not true. Too many conservative voices have been removed from the platform for that to be genuine. Really, that's not the case. You've always been anti-free speech. You can't tell us you're pro because you got rid of so many. Many of them now thrive on Rumble. Hell, even I have a Rumble account and I stream on there every day because I can't be arsed with the constant pushing against from this platform. And I love this platform, I've always loved it. But man, you make it hard to keep going sometimes. The last part is regulatory landscape. Transparency regarding government interactions with private companies is essential for fostering public trust and upholding the principles of free expression. Laws around the world affect the availability of content across Alphabet's products and services, and the company publishes data in its quarterly transparency report regarding content removal requests in an effort to inform discussion about online content regulation. No government anywhere should ever have a say with what content should exist or not exist on someone's platform, ever. And I say this in a country where it is illegal, for example, in the adult industry to film and upload many different types of adult content. The list is so long, it'll be shorter to say what is available. Missionary. The same goes for free expression. Every day, tens of thousands of people are being arrested for what they say on social media. As far as I'm concerned, words mean nothing. Action does.
Oh, but it can incite hate.
We don't have hate speech laws, guys. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, but it might incite violence.
Might is a very, very strong word for I can't prove shit, but I'm annoyed by what you've said, so I'm going to put some chains on you and treat you as if you're a criminal. YouTube, Alphabet, any company involved with this particular 5-page document sent to Jim Jordan, you need to understand that this is a damning statement. This has been pounced on by a number of creators on YouTube who have pointed out that, legal safeguards need to be in place to make sure online viewpoint discrimination doesn't happen. That's from Legal Mindset, and I agree, by the way. However, it is also likely they would be abused. Any excuse to censor the internet in some way, like the UK government has done, is always, won't somebody please think of the children? Because apparently only the government can be trusted to look after your children and not you, the parent. Apparently only a government can keep everyone safe in perpetuity so that you don't risk any harm to yourself or others. I do not care for the nanny state, I do not care for violations of free speech, and I don't care for what YouTube and Alphabet have done because a government has leaned against them to be censorship pro. If they really cared about free expression, the moment the government leaned against them, they should have gone public and said, by the way guys, the Biden administration did this. Or were you afraid about a boycott? Because at that point, somebody was untouchable. Get a spine. That's what you need. Stop being so afraid to lose a little bit of your value and protecting your profit margins, and actually have some sodding standards for a change.